Mr. Mix. Does anyone remember an old PC game from the early 90s, 1990s called Mr. Mix? It was mainly a typing game, similar to Mario Teaches Typing, where you had to put words into a box to make a chef, and that you Mr. Mix place ingredients into a bowl. Unlike most typing games, however, the game was notorious for having an insane difficulty curve. It had a words per minute requirement for each level, being as low as 10 on level 1 and as high as 85 on the third. By level 5, the requirement reaches over 500, effectively making it impossible to proceed any further. One of the main things that people immediately noticed about the game was the background music. The first level was an unsettling pattern of growls that got progressively louder as the level went on, often causing damage to computer speakers that were not designed to handle extremely high volumes. The second level had no music at all, and the third had what sounded like a very low quality recording of a hair dryer playing in the background. The remaining two levels had an incredibly loud, high-pitched ringing throughout that caused severe eardrum damage to those who managed to get that far. Another rather disturbing aspect of the game was the design of Mr. Mix himself. He was a large, round-faced, overweight man with beady eyes and red spots on his cheeks. Most children who played the game reported having bitter nightmares of Mr. Mix, speaking to them in a quiet, raspy voice and threatening them to keep quiet about something. However, none of them could remember exactly what that was. One psychologist who many of these children reported being disturbed by the sheer amount of terror on their faces as they recounted details of the nightmare. Many of them broke down into tears in the process, begging for their parents to save them. However, relationships to the game itself could be determined by these few cases. As not all children suffered the same adverse effects. For obvious reasons, the game did not sell very well and remained in relative obscurity until a few years ago, when PC hackers got a hold of a ROM bit and started digging through it. Using memory hacking software, they managed to crack the game's code and bypass impossible fifth level. What they found, however, was highly disturbing. It caused many of them to quit the expedition altogether. According to the reports these hackers left behind, the game behaves very strangely. If the fifth level is bypassed, the game crashes violently and closes, spreading a bunch of files into the user's System32 directory to the point that the RAM is almost completely filled. These files are reportedly pictures of people with horribly deformed faces appearing to scream in pain and agony, their eyes bleeding from their tear ducts, and their outer layer of skin torn clean off in multiple places. If the user attempts to delete these files, the computer will finally crash and blue screen, causing permanent, irreparable damage to the hard drive. Hackers found that this was caused by a lone byte in the game's ROM that triggered when the fifth level was completed. After removing this byte, they were able to proceed to the sixth and final level. Fortunately, all of the original hackers declined to discuss what they saw in the final level. Each of them became extremely paranoid and close afterwards, refusing to talk about anything related to the game, and showing astonishingly extreme symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder. Most of them ceased to be able to form coherent sentences within a week. Within a month, all of them had gone missing. All remaining copies of the game were destroyed. To this day, no one knows what was in it that caused the group so much psychological damage. Maybe it's better that way. 2 years after this incident, a man was arrested for trying to kidnap an 8-year-old girl from a grocery store. Through DNA and fingerprint analysis, he was identified as one of the original hackers who entered the final level of the game. He was wearing a white chef's hat and had a look of unspeakable malice and insanity on his face. Interrogated, the man went on to say one thing: "I'm Mr. Mix."